Welcome to this month's Ask the Video Guys webinar, the most frequently asked questions in the world of live streaming and video production. We're here, we do tech support in person every day, and we're here to answer some of those questions. So Adam, let's roll the bump and let's start the show. Hey folks, welcome. This is Oliver from Video Guys here for our monthly Ask the Video Guys webinar, and you're going to notice a couple cosmetic differences today, including that lower third down there. We'll get into that in just a moment. This is the show where we take some of the most frequently asked questions given to our tech support or that we hear over the phone or on our social media. Before we jump in, I'm not going to go hardcore into all the avenues to reach us, but you can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We do answer all of the comments, all of the DMs that we receive. If you have a question that requires a little bit more of a detailed answer, feel free to message us on our email at sales@videoguys.com. Reach out to videoguys.com and talk to the chat box. You will get a real person, either myself or Adam. Or give us a call at 1-800-323-2325. And if you're looking for me directly, you can dial extension 1111. Let's get into some of the most popular questions from the last month, and let's try to help you guys out a little bit here. So, Bradley on Instagram has asked, I'm looking for a way to bring animated graphics into my stream. What do you recommend? And this was a great question because we were also looking for a way to bring animated graphics into our stream. If you've been watching so far, you've noticed that some of our lower thirds are now animated. We're testing out something brand new today on our show, not new software, but new to us on this team. And that is NewBlue Titler Live. So think of this show today as a demo for Titler Live 4. We will be using it. It is our first time taking it out of the box and giving it a spin in studio. So bear with us, folks, but this is a live demo and a really great solution. I'm going to let Adam show off the interface in just a moment, but Titler Live is a great way to bring in animated graphics, really bring some character and some customization to your show. And there's also some cool features like live comments on screen, which we will all get into in the demo. So Adam, do you want to show these guys Titler Live?
Yeah, so I just really wanted to give it a proper demo because this is a really cool program. So I'm going to throw it up full screen right now. And this is what Titler Live looks like. Now, as you can see, these are all the graphics I've been using. For example, this is the one that I just used for Visit Us Online, and there it is right there. All I have to do is hit that play button. And it's really cool. When we actually first started this show, I noticed that there was a typo in this lower third. All I had to do was take it down really quick, go in, and while the broadcast was still going, I could customize these to say whatever they needed to say. So like if somebody comes in mid-show, or let's say there is indeed a typo, because, you know, we're all human, that can easily be fixed with Titler Live. Now, the other cool thing that I loved about this is that we can now bring in social media comments. This is right now is linked up to our Facebook. Hopefully we can link up our YouTube a little later, but I want to play around with it more before I do that. But as you can see here are some of the comments we got on Facebook that I've selected. And now what I can do is I created a file here. Now all I have to do is hit play. And there it is. Now it's not just that. I can update this as well. So let me just take that down. And now I'm going to use this one here. There you go. Now it is that one. So you can pick and choose which social media bubble or which comment you want to bring up. So a very cool program, and we are just scratching the surface here, and I can't wait to play with it more. So, but
if you're doing a live production where people are commenting in, I cannot stress what a great tool that is to have in your arsenal to be able to pull up something. If somebody says something really topical in your chat, or if on this show we do a frequently asked questions show, if somebody's asking something really insightful in our Facebook chat, it would be great to be able to pop that up on screen and be able to reference it so that our canned audience can know what we were talking about. So
absolutely. And I just wanted to show one more thing off before before we went away, and this is all coming in via NDI. This is all coming in via NDI 5, and you can look at all these options that you have that you can choose as an output. We wanted to bring it in NDI into our TC1. And also, if you're not sure how it's coming in, you can also see it here, and that'll show you what it is. But yeah, the fact that we could bring this in via NDI is a huge plus in my book.
Absolutely. So big props to the folks over at NewBlue for Titler Live. We absolutely love it. I can't wait to see all the things that we're going to do with it. Steve on Facebook asks, how do I update the firmware on my Atomos monitor? So this is actually a really great question that you will have to deal with when you are using an Atomos monitor. So Atomos products are really great solutions, especially in the cinematography world. They have them for all sizes of productions. We use a Sumo 19 in our studio, and we run and gun with an Atomos Ninja 5. So one of the cool things about Atomos is that their firmware is always updating with new features, new bug fixes, and for the most part, they're free to put on your monitor, and the process is very simple. I want to bring up this graphic here. You can download your Atomos firmware at their website. That's atomos.com/product-support. Now, when you boot up your Atomos monitor, it should go automatically. What you do is you take the firmware off of their website, put it on your Atomos Caddy, insert that into your Atomos device, and power up, and you should be good to go. However, if you are not, you can hold the power button in, and it will bring you to the correct screen to update your firmware. Now, some tech tips on this that I've found in updating our Atomos equipment here is that number one, when you do an Atomos firmware update, you want to make sure that you're plugged into a power supply. You can do it with a fully charged battery as well, but I find that it's better to just have power coming from the wall, because if you lose power during your update, it's not going to be good for your monitor. And frankly, it just is a little quicker when you have power in the machine. Now, if you are booting up your Atomos monitor and you don't want to update, sometimes it will drop you on an error message upon boot up. That's if you're holding the power button. So if you want to go to the update screen, you got to hold the power button for 3 seconds. Any other time, you only want to tap that Atomos power button to get your monitor powered on. So little things that maybe you don't think of right away, but are important to know. Now, I want to take a look at this video from Atomos. I will preface it by saying that this video is a couple years old, so they are using some of the older Atomos monitors, but the process is exactly the same as what is listed in this video from Atomos, and I think it's a great resource. Adam, let's roll this video talking about how to update your Atomos firmware.
All Atomos recorders are user upgradable with firmware updates. It's a good idea to keep your recorder up to date so you can take advantage of all the latest features and bug fixes. In your web browser, go to atomos.com/firmware. Select your product and download the firmware package. Connect your Atomos docking station with an SSD attached to the USB of your Mac. By default, the zip file will go to the Downloads folder. If you have left the earlier version of firmware files for the same product in your Downloads folder, your Mac will automatically rename this with a -2 at the end of the file name. In this case, delete the previous version and rename the new version, removing the -2 at the end of the file name, as the wrong file name will disable the update. Drag and drop your firmware file from the Downloads folder to your Atomos drive. Insert the SSD into your Atomos recorder. Make sure your recorder's battery is fully charged or powered via DC. Power up the recorder. The firmware update should now start. When complete, your recorder will power down. Turn on your Atomos recorder and check that the firmware is the newest version.
Alrighty, I want to say thank you to Atomos for producing that content and all of the great content that they produce, especially on their Atomos Academy website. And I also want to point out that video, while it is with older monitors, can still be done with all of the new Atomos monitors like the Ninja V, the Ninja 5, the Ninja 5 Plus, and the Shogun 7. Now, our next question is about the YoloLive YoloBox Pro and the YoloLive YoloBox. And that is, what are the differences between the YoloBox Pro and the YoloBox? So let's jump into this. And I do want to point out that we did do a great webinar launching the YoloBox Pro where we talk about some of those differences. But here is just the bullet points of some of the most important ones. And Adam, if we could go full screen on these, you'll see that the YoloLive YoloBox is 7 inches, 350 nits, still really great for outdoor portable use. But the YoloBox Pro is 8 inches with a 400 nit screen. At the same time, the YoloBox is great if you have 2 cameras that you're trying to mix via HDMI. But the YoloBox Pro has 3 HDMI inputs, which really is the sweet spot for a lot of productions. You can still bring in 3 inputs to the YoloBox, but you need to use the USB feature on it, which is also available here to get 4 cameras. On top of that, the processing is a little bit smoother on the YoloBox Pro, but still excellent on the YoloBox itself. But beyond these elevator pitches, we actually created a video talking about what these changes look like in use. So let's roll our video comparing the YoloBox Pro and the YoloBox.
When you take these ports and put them into action, the difference between the YoloLive YoloBox and the new YoloBox Pro are apparent. For starters, the ability to bring in 3 HDMI cameras on the YoloBox Pro versus the 2 HDMI cameras on the YoloLive YoloBox is a significant difference. For many live stream productions, 3 cameras is the sweet spot. The USB port on top of both YoloBoxes can be used for either an external USB storage device or a USB camera source. Users on the YoloLive YoloBox can bring in a 3rd camera using the USB port, while users on the YoloBox Pro can use that port as a 4th camera input. The USB port on the YoloBox Pro is also a USB 3.0, while the USB input on the YoloLive YoloBox is USB 2.0. The YoloBox Pro also offers an input for USB-C sources. This USB-C port will be great for users trying to bring in a picture from a GoPro or a drone. If the original YoloBox is plugged into the wall, it can't take a USB-C source, whereas the YoloBox Pro has 2 USB-C ports, meaning it can charge and take an input at the same time.
Alrighty, so that full video is also available on our YouTube and Facebook channels, and we will include it in our blog post for today's show as well on videoguys.com. Now, if it wasn't already apparent in the video, I just want to show you because 7 inches versus 8 inches doesn't sound like a lot, but it definitely is. Let's go to this upward to the ceiling cam, the PF120, and you can see here I have the YoloBox itself, and we're going to line it up right here so you can see it on the lines. That's what 7 inches, really 6 inches of screen real estate in a 7-inch device versus, I misspoke, folks. Actually, this is 8 inches with a 7-inch screen. So 7-inch screen here gets you that much versus the YoloBox Pro. And you can already see the size comparison there. And if I stack them like this, it's taking up 3 boxes here. The whole YoloBox can fit inside of the screen of the YoloBox Pro. So that should give you a little bit of an idea of what might be best for your production in general. The YoloBox is still a great unit to look into. But the YoloBox Pro might also have some of the features that you need. Moving on, and we're sticking with the YoloBox here. Why isn't my YoloBox Pro staying powered for the whole 3 hours? And we actually reached out to this customer and talked with them a little bit, and we know exactly what was going on. And that is the USB input on top of the YoloBox. Adam, if we could go back to the PF120, actually, I'm sorry. This port right here, present on both YoloBoxes, is a USB input. You can use that to bring in graphics, or you can use it to bring in a USB camera. The most popular USB cameras are, of course, webcams, and a lot of webcams will actually draw power from the device they're plugged into. If you have a webcam plugged into your desktop, it doesn't plug into the wall. It plugs into the desktop via USB, and it takes power that way. Well, this is still a great solution for YoloBox, but you have to be prepared that if you're running off of battery, you need to know that you're not going to get the full 3 hours because you're using some of that power to give it to a webcam. But there are USB cameras that do plug in with DC power, so they won't draw power from the YoloBox itself. Two that we like are the PTZ Optics USB PTZ camera and the BirdDog Eyes P100, which is a really great USB PTZ camera as well. So just two ideas. It doesn't need to be those two cameras. And for some cases, plugging in a webcam is going to be the perfect fit. Greg on Facebook asks, how should I go about downloading and installing NDI 5? So this is a little bit of a follow-up here from a previous show. And that is that I want to address. Last time we talked about NDI 5, the wait list was still happening. Now NDI 5 is here. You can download it from ndi.tv, that's NewTek's website. And we want to reaffirm that when you go about downloading it, you must uninstall NDI from all of your devices. So if you have NDI 4.5 on any of your devices, you want to uninstall that and then reinstall NDI 5. And you also want to make sure that everything in your studio is using NDI 5. So we have this Surface laptop that runs off NDI 5. We have our TriCaster, which is also using NDI 5. You want to make sure all of your pieces are using the same software to ensure the best results. And while we're on the topic of NDI 5, why do you want NDI 5? Well, one of the key reasons is the remote access. You'll notice here that some of these features are seamless integration, NDI bridge, NDI remote, ARM support. This is all about connecting studios across the world with NDI. Now you can go outside your local network with NDI remote. NDI bridge can send signals over LAN or WAN or public internet. You'll also see seamless integration. And let's throw this up. I'm sorry, Adam, just one more second, just so folks can read that, screenshot it if you need it. Seamless integration, this is talking about really NLE workflows. So you can also now use NDI in your post-production workflow to connect things like the Adobe Creative Cloud, so Premiere, Final Cut, etc. all now have NDI integrations where you can monitor a timeline as it goes and give live playback straight outside of Premiere. There's also the NDI HX camera app, which we're very excited about. Turn your smartphone into an NDI source. So there's a ton here. And I also want to point out that on YouTube, we did an NDI 5 launch webinar where we dived headfirst into all of these features. We cannot encourage you highly enough to check out NDI 5. And even some of the user interface processes of NDI have become much easier with NDI 5 as someone who is using it now daily. Eric on Twitter asks, what are the main differences between the PTZ Optics SuperJoy and the PTZ Optics IP Generation 4 controller? And we actually just did a show where we compared all of our controllers, but let's take a look. I don't have the Generation 4 here, but we do have the SuperJoy on the table right here. That's this guy. And this is a really popular controller recently. It's got a ton of capability. Of course, there's also the BirdDog PTZ controller, which is great as well. Just so you can see kind of the tactile feel that some of these give you. And let's dive into some of the main differences between the PT Joy and the SuperJoy. And that's number one, the PT Joy G4 can do both serial and IP cameras just like the SuperJoy can, but it can't do them simultaneously. You do have to switch modes to control each camera, whereas the SuperJoy, you can mix and match serial and IP all at the same time simultaneously. There's also less control options on the PT Joy. It's got those knob speed adjustments, but that's about it. Still really great for some smaller productions or if you're just working with serial or IP. But the SuperJoy has a ton of different control options. You have your knobs on it, you have your joystick, and you have a ton of buttons here that are all just zoom, tilt speed, controlling different aspects of the camera. You can also dive into the iris and focus control super heavy. And of course, there are the different control modes. There is basic and basic plus mode, matrix mode, and then you have your custom buttons here that you can set to a sequence. So matrix mode allows you to control multiple cameras simultaneously. I can have 4 cameras on here and program presets to my custom buttons that will move all of them. So some really cool features. There's a PTZ camera controller for every workflow. And really finding out what is the best one for you is diving into some of those features. So I want to take this chart here and let's put it full screen for a minute. I'm not going to go into all of the features listed here, but this is all of the controllers that we carry from PTZ Optics, Bird Dog, and Panasonic. And these are strictly the straight up PTZ controllers, not devices with PTZ control. I'll put that as a PDF in our Video Guys blog post for today's show, which we'll link to on YouTube, so that you have access to it. It's a great resource for picking what the best PTZ controller is for your production. They're all great controllers, but some will fit better for smaller productions and some better for larger productions. And if you need even more advice on that, our regular host Gary Batan just did a full PTZ camera controller webinar where we went through all of these controllers as well as production systems that allow for PTZ camera control. Cannot recommend that webinar highly enough. Definitely go and check it out for more on this topic. And folks, that brings us to an end for our Ask the Video Guys August show. We do, of course, try to do this show once a month. Sometimes it's frequently asked questions about everything, and sometimes they're just a general topic. Definitely give us a call at 1-800-323-2325 if you have questions that we can answer. We are here. You will get a real person who has used all of the equipment that we sell. We also are available via email at sales@videoguys.com. And if you have an Ask the Video Guys question, you make that subject line Ask the Video Guys. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We are available all over the place, and we do answer all of our comments, folks. And lastly, videoguys.com. If you're on the site, you're looking at what to buy for your production and you need a consultation, check out our chat box. You'll get in contact with myself or with Adam. We are live tech support. So definitely check out all of those avenues and get to streaming. And hopefully this has been helpful. Like this video, subscribe, like us on Facebook, comment on everything, and that'll just help us spread the word even more about live streaming, create better materials to bring to you to answer your questions. Folks, I am Oliver at Video Guys. This has been Ask the Video Guys. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next week at Tuesday at 3 p.m. Bye, everybody.
Thank you for watching this week's Video Guys live webinar. We go live every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time to our Facebook and YouTube pages with the latest news on live streaming, video editing, and video storage technology. Join us next week for a great webinar on some new products and bundles from RGB Link, including the new Ask Nano, PTZ cameras, and Mini Pro coming soon. The following week, we'll be doing a show on the LiveView Solo and some LU300 bundles. Video Guys is available Monday through Friday. Give us a call at 1-800-323-2325. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram to stay connected with all of our updates. And you can like us on Facebook. Keep an eye out for our live videos, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.